Ladies and gentlemen, now in today's video, we're going to be having a little bit of a chat about the 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross May tier list update. And this is just after the release of the Slime collaboration characters. And they're all quite fun, man. I did really enjoy them. But we've got like a month's worth of characters added onto this tier list that weren't there previously. A lot to talk about, a lot to cover today. And also, I've been going through, because I've done so much testing, kind of bringing all sorts of characters into raids like top tier PvP, both like on video, off video as well, and I like to think that I've really expanded my knowledge on a lot of characters in this game. However, you know, I still might be a little bit of a newbie when it does come to certain characters that are a bit lesser played, so if I'm kind of missing anything really important about the rankings of certain characters, or maybe a slightly like off meta character, something they're really good for, please do let me know. Please do educate me in the comment section below. Again, I'm very open to learning new information and kind of adjusting my rankings based off that. However, I want to go over my thoughts on some of the top characters at the moment, the ones to focus on, build, because yeah, there are just some crazy broken characters in the current meta. Now, I would say, without too much doubt, the #1 overall character at the moment is Gotha. Gotha is just a ridiculous engine, man. The ability to like upgrade everybody, attack disable, you've got this ult that hits really hard and also drains pretty much all the ult of the opponents as well. You've got this passive that, providing he doesn't get hit, just keeps on ramping up everybody's attack. Gotha is just crazy. He's just a cheat code for like all of the demon raids, PvP, the knighthood boss for getting a massive fat score there. So yeah, Gotha, he's just kind of like this engine that allows you to take your progression and farming to like the next level in this game, and he's now in the plat shop, which is really good. But also, I would say like the second best character overall at the moment is Escanor. Now, I recently started a free-to-play account, and we are very fortunate. We got Escanor like midway through the story progression, and he's just crazy broken for story, man. The damage output, he just hits like a friggin' truck. There's so much damage single target. That ultimate is like pretty much anything's dead. So you just roll through some of the toughest bosses in the story just really easily. You just like ult rush Escanor and win like every difficult boss fight. PvP is a beast, man, both in ungeared and geared. Really good for the Grey Demons as well. You can just fire off Cruel Sun and just, you know, waste various abilities to get to his ultimate and then just hammer that ultimate in. Granted, he's not quite as good as Green King, but still, man, he's really decent for the extreme version of Grey Demon to go alongside King as well. Crimson Demon, fantastic for as well. Auto farming, like, he's not really a cleave character, but especially when I was doing my free-to-play account, I didn't have Hauser initially. He's just like, you know, every single Escanor card is just a ton of single target damage. He works decently for it, and his unique is like crazy good for PvP to make him like CC immune. Then next up, Blue King is just amazing for the petrify, the heal, the ult that just kills everybody in PvP, man. Absolute beast mode character for so many progressing players, and he's super free to play friendly as well. You get him via the story, man. So I love that they literally give out one of the best characters in game, actually a couple of the best characters in game. Also Blue DeeAnn as well, just very early on. Then next up we have Green Merlin, who's the second priority for, I would say, pretty much everybody to buy from the coin shop, just because like her unique ability is crazy good. It allows the entire team to start with 1 additional ult gauge, so she's pretty much core to, I'd say, about 70 to 80% of PvP teams and strategies at the moment, outside of like mono red and like very heavy burst teams. But also the drain that she has, the cube she has, the hard-hitting ultimate, like she's just a really solid, well-rounded character. So yeah, absolutely love Merlin. Hauser is just like the auto farming god of 7 Deadly Sins. All of his abilities hit everybody, and he hits really hard. He's amazing in elite geared PvP. He's not so good in normal PvP, PvP, but geared PvP, if you got like a pierce rate set on this dude, he's just like broken. The damage is so crazy, man. I gain more and more appreciation for Hauser every single day, and especially paired with Escanor in PvP, in elite geared PvP at the moment, that it's like almost an unstoppable team. It is so good. So yeah, that's one of my favorite setups. But also we got Arthur, who is crazy for so many PvP teams. Like the buff that he has to, what is it, health, defense, and also attack is mad. But if you get it up to gold, then you also get debuff immunity for 3 turns. So a very common strategy is using Gotha and Arthur and just kind of rushing that gold buff, and it's crazy. It's so difficult to deal with for a lot of PvP teams to go against. So yeah, Arthur's just crazy, and also his unique ability, which increases the health related stats. So everything in the kind of subsection of health substats, so that's like health, lifesteal, recovery rate, regenerate by 15% on all human allies. And most of the good characters, I wouldn't say all of them, but most of them are marked as human. So yeah, he just builds so well with all different characters, man. Like that unique is honestly crazy, and the more I play Arthur, the more I can kind of appreciate the value for it. So yeah, Arthur's just awesome, man. Then we got Green Jericho. Green Jericho, she can do so much work for a lot of players that are struggling on some of the bigger bosses in story, just because she hits like a friggin' truck. She's not too bad in PvP, especially paired with like Escanor at the moment. I know some people are running like Escanor Jericho Burst, and that seems to be working out well for some people there. Not too bad for the Grey Demon as well. And she also is amazing, like the top unit at the moment for the Knighthood boss, because her ultimate hits ridiculously hard, and she was so valuable for Final Boss King as well. So yeah, she's a really good unit, very free to play friendly. You can get her in like the gold coin shop, just from like SR coin dupes there. So yeah, she's just an amazing character for anybody to build. I freaking love my blue Lizhawk for PvP, man. That cleanse, that massive amplify damage, the insanely hard hitting ult as well. Like, she's still one of my favorite characters out there. So yeah, there's quite a few blue Lizhawk teams that still work really nicely in PvP, and I think she's one of the tankiest blue units when it comes to like facing Escanor. But Escanor he's just a wrecking ball, man. He's just tearing through everybody. Then we've also got blue DeeAnn. So I think blue DeeAnn, in all honesty, man, it's still a 5 in PvP, just because there's a very like what is it, a cycling meta that goes on, and mono red is kind of like a very popular strategy for a lot of people to run. But the big whales at the top of the meta at the moment, a lot of them have invested in like 6 out of 6 DeeAnn, and the ultimates off her are just unreal, man. They're just so stupid. But I think DeeAnn Ult Rush has like a really solid place in the meta, because it's always gonna like shut down the teams that don't build with drain, because you can always, if you've got Merlin, you're using apple pies, you can always get that DeeAnn ult on the second turn. And especially with a good taunt character like Gil Thunder or the brand new SSR Rimuru, there's a lot of stuff that you can do to outplay stuff like King Broom control teams, man. So yeah, I still really like DeeAnn. The ult on DeeAnn is just crazy, man. It does so much damage. I've got it like 2 out of 6, and the numbers are ridiculous, but I've seen some of those 6/6 numbers and they just wipe mono red teams, man. So blue DeeAnn still a little bit busted in PvP, and definitely does have a place in the meta at the moment, at least in my opinion. And she's not too bad for auto farming, especially for newer players as well. Then we've got green Meliodas. Now I feel like green Meliodas, he's still kind of one of the best characters if you are a beginner to reroll for, and has a great place in story progression for a lot of people. But outside of the story stuff, I haven't really found like too many ongoing uses for green Meliodas. It's kind of okay for Grey Demon, but there are so many characters now that are much better for that. So yeah, green Meliodas, not too bad. And really good for the story, but outside of that, I'm struggling to see his uses at the moment. Like, they really nerfed the counter damage on a lot of the boss fights that come up, especially Final Boss King as well. Green Meliodas Really was not great for that. So yeah, I like Green Melly. I feel like he has fallen off a little bit though, so maybe he should be just down this list a little bit more. But then we got Red Demon and Meliodas. I friggin' love this character, man. He's so much fun to play on PvP in that sub-slot for all sorts of just random teams. I love just chucking him in for a bit of fun when I can. Really good for the story. He just hits like a friggin' truck in so many scenarios. I really like him for the Red Demon. He's like the best unit by far for the Crimson Demon. Just crazy insane in terms of the damage output. Not too bad for auto farming again, because like everything deals damage to a single target if that's kind of the auto farming you're looking to focus on. But again, not like the best auto farming unit like Hauser for cleaving everybody, but everything is damage, so that's always a pretty good time. And then we've got King up next. King is just the craziest option for the Grey Demon, man. Like, he's really fun to play in that scenario. Not too bad for many story scenarios as well. All right for the Crimson Demon. I've done a little bit of testing. There are better units, but he still does work like okay in that fight as well. But yeah, like in comparison to like Escanor and Meliodas and like what's it, Red SR Lizhawk, doesn't quite have that like top level spice there, but I still really like him. Then we got Green Barn. I feel like Green Barn, he's still really good for auto farming and a lot of like story farming stuff where you have multiple targets. Like, he's a really good cleave character. PvP wise though, I feel like as soon as Gotha came out and the meta started to settle down, he's fallen off really quickly in PvP. I like barely ever see a Green Barn nowadays, and when I do, they very often lose to stuff like Escanor Burst teams, like Mono Red teams. So yeah, Barn, I wish he had stayed around for a little bit longer, but some people still use him and occasionally have success. I had all right success what was it, using a Green Barn like Hauser King Cleave team a few weeks ago, and it can take down, if you're really lucky, like some Kingbrim teams. But yeah, he's just not really like aged that well past Gotha, at least in my opinion. And then next up we got Rimuru. So I really like Rimuru just because his taunt is crazy good. So if you get a silver taunt, which you usually do on like turn 2 or turn 3 in PvP, then you've got a taunt. You're fully debuff immune on Rimuru, and also you're going to regenerate a huge amount of the damage that you took, or diminished health, when the next turn starts. So yeah, Rimuru's taunt is very trolly. Unless Kingbrim has immediate access to a Hellbrim ult, they cannot get through it. So if you can line up Rimuru's taunt with like DeeAnn's ult, like, it's a crazy tactic, man, because then they have no way to get through Rimuru to DeeAnn. So yeah, I really like the all blue team with Rimuru, DeeAnn, and King. That one is really fun to play. My favorite like DeeAnn ult rush team at the moment. So yeah, Rimuru, I know he's been a little bit controversial. Some people like him, some people don't like him, but I really like him for PvP, man. I think he's a solid 4 in the meta at the moment. And then next up we got Mileena. Now Mileena, I think a way to ball Mileena down, she's really fun to play. The ultimate can hit very hard, especially if you get lucky on the crits as well. But Mileena, at least in my opinion, is just a slightly worse version of DeeAnn. And DeeAnn's crazy, man. Like, everything deals damage. There's just crazy damage on the ult. And Mileena's still good. She still slaps really hard, but not as much damage as DeeAnn. So if you want to like whale out and invest like 6 Mileena, I think you can have a bit of fun in the PvP meta for a while, but long term, like blue DeeAnn 6/6 is just gonna, you know, be the better option overall. But Mileena, she's quirky, she's fun to play, and I think she does do some stuff in the current meta, so I like her for PvP, man. She's not too bad. And then we have Galland. Galland works, at least in my opinion, a lot better in ungeared than geared at the moment. Escanor is too OP in geared, man, just tears through a Galland, but in ungeared, he doesn't quite have the burst. So yeah, I've still been having a lot of fun with my Galland in ungeared PvP. Like, he's sick for story as well. If you can like pair him with Arthur, or if you just like alt rush and then like, you know, use the amplify cards after that, like, he's really fun to play. Also very enjoyable for the red demon as well, and especially going into hell, he's a blue unit, so he's going to be viable there. And I know some people use him for the hell red demon on JP. So yeah, I like Galland, man. He's super fun to play. Red Merlin, really just for the freeze. The freeze is really good for red demon. Not too bad in PvP in certain scenarios. If you get the right matchup, Red Merlin control can be very fun to play. I did a little bit of testing, and yeah, she's definitely one you don't see too often, but when she works and you get lucky with the freezes, man, you know, it's very trolly and very, very fun. And then we've got Green Elizabeth, mainly for the Grey Demon, like her heals, just absolutely insane there. Helbram is just an amazing buffer unit, just because he has like a different kind of attack buff, which instead of increasing attack, increases all of the attack related stats. So it's stuff like crit chance, crit damage, pierce rate, attack, like it's all that bundle of stuff there with Helbram's attack related stats buff, and it stacks on top of like Gil Thunder or Arthur or Gotha's buffs. So yeah, Helbram's just really valuable to ramp up like a particular character in certain scenarios. MVP for the friggin' Knighthood boss at the moment. So yeah, really good for that. Blue Barn, very good for the Red Demon, same as Blue Slater as well. And then kind of going down, I don't think we have any like super special characters. Like Green Alone was really, really good for the Final Boss King. Blue Fighter DeeAnn is really good for the current Ifrit boss, but the problem is, like with these two characters, they're not really great for like too much outside of that. They have their occasional uses. They're not absolutely terrible, but you know, the really amazing stuff is a little bit seasonal when it comes to some of these. Blue Elizabeth, the new one, she's fun to play in PvP, not really that reliable, but that unique, it is an enjoyable time. And same with Deldry as well. Like Deldry's very fun to play if her charm in PvP lands on Hauser, and I imagine with like Blue Demon Meliodas, and maybe we might see a lot of AoE cleave teams. If we see a lot of those in the meta, then Deldry might come back as a really strong, really interesting option. So yeah, I'm curious to see how Deldry ages over time, but she's fun to play now and trolls Hauser if you are lucky. But again, it's all about like getting lucky and having that charm land on the right opponent. So yeah, that is that's the thing with Deldry at the moment, is it needs to land on Hauser, or else she's really not that useful. And then aside from that, I don't think there's anybody like too worth talking about. We got Death Pierce, who has like an alright unique, but his cards suck, man. He's just really, really underwhelming. Now, just two quick ones. We got Red Gila and Benimaru before we move on to the SRs. And I did a Red Gila gameplay video today in PvP, and she was so much fun to play, man. The damage output on her actually really wasn't too bad at all. So I was a little bit impressed with Red Gila, man. She might be a little bit better than expected, but I do need to do some more testing. And then we've got Benimaru. So Benimaru, the free SSR like everybody got this week, I've just found him to be like really disappointing. It's like everywhere I take him, like PvP, any of the demon fights, any boss battles, he just seems to be like much worse than a lot of other characters out there. So yeah, I'm just not really feeling Benimaru at all. Like, I've tested him against like Crimson, Red Demon, loads of PvP matches, and everywhere he's just been a little bit meh. Again, he's not the worst, he can get the job done, can make a dent, but yeah, I don't know, I just think there are better characters to invest in overall in comparison to Benimaru. So a little bit disappointed when it did come to him. However, now we've got the really good SR characters. Now, one character I just friggin' love, man, Red Lizhawk, is just one of my MVPs. So farming like the Red Demon, the Crimson Demon, it's just really her and like Demon Meliodas doing a lot of the work at the moment. Her unique is just crazy powerful, man, especially against the Red Demon. I think she's arguably the best unit for Red Demon overall, just because like every turn she doesn't take damage, she gets like 10% more attack, so it just ramps up her attack so quickly that she seems to bypass the damage output of even like all sorts of blue characters very, very fast. Crimson Demon, she deals so much damage. Again, charge ignores defense, which is pretty big kind of the deeper you get into the Crimson Demon fight, and also her ultimate just hits like a friggin' truck as well. So yeah, I love Red Lizhawk, man. She's amazing, and definitely like a top 3 SR character to max out, at least in my opinion. Green Gil Thunder for the attack buff is crazy good for like almost everything, but also PvP for that unique ability which increases everybody's defense related stats by 30% is really valuable as well. Then we got Gustav for the freeze, man. The freeze is so valuable for the Red Demon, or also the the knighthood boss, because again, when paired with Gotha, you get the freeze to gold, and when you shatter the freeze, you get 200% more damage. So this just allows you to, yeah, just deal a ridiculously big hit with Jericho against the knighthood boss. So yeah, good stuff is just crazy good. Green Lizhawk, amazing for farming, man, really fun, not too bad for some of the story stuff as well. Wineheart is not bad for auto farming, not too bad for the story, can be okay for PvP. I think like his meta has kind of shifted out a little bit. He's very popular with pierce rate teams in the first like few weeks of global, but not so much anymore. And then we got Red Slater. Red Slater is still pretty fun for PvP. I think he works much better in geared PvP in comparison to ungeared, because in geared, like mono red teams, because of all the increased stats, seem to work a lot better. So yeah, he's really decent for that. Not too bad for the red demon as well. Again, the blue Slater is much better there, and okay for the crimson demon, at least from what I've seen. So yeah, he's not like too bad, but again, I think he shines the most in some story stuff and also PvP stuff. The ability to just shut down everything apart from attacks, and kind of force attacks while also reducing attack is like really valuable, man. And then we've got the Red Barn, who's amazing for story. This guy is just an absolute what is it, Hendrickson slaying MVP. Doesn't have like, you know, too much relevance, at least from what I've seen. I can't remember the last time I saw like a Red Barn in PvP, but maybe we might like you know, fully max out a Red Barn and take him back in. I used to use this guy on like the sub slot my first couple of weeks playing, man. He was very fun. So yeah, maybe we need to revisit that at some point, but he's got like the alt gauge drains, so maybe he might not be too bad. Red Elizabeth, the tavern one that you get from the story, and also just the general banner. Her unique is crazy good, man. Like, it heals for 10% of maximum health on everybody, provided they took damage the last turn. So this is just like quite literally just broken OP for certain bosses like Ifrit, and any scenario where you're fighting an opponent or boss and they're just constantly dealing a huge amount of damage every single turn. So yeah, that heal is really nice. Then we got Kane. Kane's like a unique ability is just crazy for all of the demons, man. Not really that good for the knighthood boss. I'm not too sure why he's got a ranking there, but in all the death matches, like all the demons, man, he's just crazy. Like pretty much the best option to have on the sub slot, because your sub slot character against the demons most of the time is really doing nothing, unless you want more survivability. But if you want to go for damage to improve that speed farming efficiency, it really is Kane in the majority of scenarios. So yeah, just crazy good character. Then next up we got Blue Meliodas. Blue Meliodas is not too bad for a lot of the stuff in the story, but I think he does tend to fall off quite quickly, especially considering like counter damage is reduced in like so many different areas. So yeah, Blue Meliodas, not really that spicy. However, Red Griamore should maybe be slightly above Blue Meliodas here, I would say, because Red Griamore really good for geared PvP. He increases, what is it, the health related stats of all allies in PvP by 15%, so it's basically like a second copy of like Arthur's unique that stacks on top of it. So yeah, that gives you like some crazy stuff for the lifesteal and recovery rate and regen rate, and it just merges together really nicely with Arthur. So yeah, it works really nice in PvP. He's also like not too bad for the Crimson Demon, because he essentially has like Merlin's cube card as well. So if you're looking for more mitigation and a character to keep you alive on the Crimson Demon and you don't have Merlin, like Red Griamore can work. Again, not the best option, but if you really wanted to make it work, it certainly could. And also if you're trying to do like the knighthood boss and you're initially progressing, his barrier can be a nice like budget option for free-to-play players that might not have access to the full kind of team to get the maximum points on the hardest difficulty. So yeah, he can be alright there, but Red Griamore, I like him more and more. And then we've got Blue Gila, who's crazy for auto farming because of that passive. Just really quickly gets her to the ult and she fires that off and just nukes everybody. So yeah, she's pretty decent. Maybe a 5 for auto farming. I know a lot of people what is it, really do like her and rate her. And then we got Red Jericho. Red Jericho is amazing for the current what what is it, Ifrit boss at the moment because she has the Rupture cards. However, outside of that, not too many uses yet, but she does have the card which, or sorry, the unique ability which increases the attack-related stats of all red allies by 10%. So yeah, this is going to be really valuable in the future for, I believe, final boss Merlin when she comes around. Then next up, we got Rimuru, who's, you know, got a pretty good heal, got debuff immunity, pretty much the same card as the blue version of Elizabeth. Like, I played him in PvP, I had a little bit of fun, and his single target heal, because it's so strong, actually did win us a couple of matchups. So yeah, that was a crazy fun video. He's not useless, but also he lacks the kind of stats you need to make him like super viable, but he's alright, man. He's definitely got some uses there, and also his unique ability is going to heal you for 5% of diminished health every single turn, so it ain't too bad, man. It's a nice little top up there. Then next up we got Dogedo, and Dogedo's passive increases defense related stats by 30% on all red characters, so it's pretty much like Green Guild Thunder's passive, but on every single red character. And I think this has like its pros and cons. He seems like an okay unit. I need to do a little bit more testing on Dogedo, and also Arden as well. Arden is very, very new, and I haven't seen too much on Arden, but his like unique ability, man, looks very, very trolly. I think his unique ability takes away 2 ult gauge from the opponent at the start of every single fight, so he kind of like counters ult rush there, which is really cool. But his cards, like, they don't really seem that great, so the main value in Arden seems to come from that unique ability to slow down ult rush comps. Then next up we got Jillian. Jillian is awesome, man. She's really, really good for final boss king for a lot of players because she increases the health of all green allies by 30%, so, you know, made a lot of teams a lot more tanky to deal with stuff like the extreme and also hell versions of that boss. So yeah, Jillian has her uses, man. She's pretty much like the green version of Twiggo, but aside from that, we've got like a lot of SR characters that don't really bring too much to the table, but again, I need to like look into a lot of these characters a bit more. Green Gotha, he was fun to play for final boss king, but outside of that fight, I don't really think he has too many uses. He's a very niche character, so yeah, I don't think there's too much spice here, but please do educate me if I am wrong. And then we've got the R characters, so Twiggo is doing really well for a lot of PvP teams at the moment, especially the mono red teams. Like, that unique ability to increase the health of all red allies by 30% is crazy good, especially when combined with like Arthur Gold Rush strategies where you get the massive buff as well. Like, you've got like Hauser and Gotha sitting at like 200,000 hit points. It is a little bit mad. So yeah, Twiggo's like really fun to play on mono red teams. Not too bad for the Crimson Demon as well, especially for that you know, passive on the sub slot. If you have that passive, you're running lifesteal food, like, you're really, really tanky for the Crimson Demon, and that's how I managed to get the solo on the extreme version of Crimson Demon. So yeah, I like Twiggo, man. He's certainly not too bad at all. Alioni is he's got a really good unique ability which increases all of the attack-related stats of green allies by 10%, and this was really good if you were going for like a top 100 score and final boss king. You cut out Jillian, you put in Alioni, and you like ran the fight on the edge to try and maximize your score as much as possible. But the thing is, like, when it comes to death matches, like, just Kane is better because he's like 5% more on all attack-related stats. So yeah, he's got scenarios in like all green teams in the future where he's going to be useful though, so he's not too bad to build. Simon increases damage dealt by 15% in PvP, so he's not too bad for a lot of burst compositions there. Taizu is apparently not too bad for the red or the crimson demons because he's got a fair amount of damage, and also his what is it, ultimate hits like really, really hard as well. But aside from that, most of the R characters are a little bit meaty. I did enjoy playing about with our boy Hugo there, but he's a very, very niche character that's tricky to work and also very lacking on base stats as well. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the May 2020 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross tier list update. If you did enjoy today's video, please do smash that like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. But aside from that, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.